What's up everyone? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am the Marketing Nomad and my name is Prit. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about what do you do if you are feeling stuck. Now, personally, I think that this method works so well for me and I really want to share it with as many people as possible. So if you are feeling stuck in any aspect of your life, try this method. I mean, this is just one method that you can try out of the many that exist. This is a method that works for me personally and I just wanted to share it in case you have tried other methods and it's not really working. And I will also be explaining why this method works for me and why it may also work for you. And yeah, let's get into today's video. But before we get into today's video, I do have to tell you that if you are not following me on Instagram, you may not know this, and that is I'm publishing a book very soon. I know, it's super exciting. It's absolutely crazy. This has been a year and a half in the making, to be honest, and I can't believe that in a couple months I'm going to be calling myself an author. Of course, if you want weekly updates of what's happening behind the scenes of my journey to becoming an author, then definitely do subscribe in the author newsletter that I have in the description box below. I will be giving out weekly updates. Yes, of course, I give daily updates on my Instagram page, behind the scenes of everything that's happening. It's really interesting. Definitely do follow me on Instagram too, okay? I'm gonna put all the links in the description box below. Alrighty guys, let's go into today's video. What do you do if you're feeling stuck? Okay, so this can be any aspect of your life, all right? If you're feeling stuck, I know this sounds crazy, it sounds absolutely wild, but what you have to do is do nothing. It's crazy, I know. Psh, you're gonna be like, Prit, if I'm stuck, then why would I not do anything? I wanna get out of feeling stuck. Now here's the thing that most people don't realize. When you are feeling stuck, most likely you are in a state of fear. Most likely you are panicking. Most likely you are just so unsure of what to do next. I mean, that's why you're stuck where you are. And if you try to take any step when you are in that mindset, it's most definitely going to backfire, okay? Because you are going to be working from a place of fear, from a place of insecurity, and you probably might be too emotionally invested to make the right decision for you, okay? It's going to be impossible for you to remain objective and actually see clearly what you have to do next. So if you're feeling stuck, okay, my solution to this is do absolutely nothing. And not just that, there is one method that I personally use for myself every time I'm feeling stuck. Now, when I feel stuck, it's usually because there are a million questions in my head. Okay, I do not know what to focus on. I don't know what could be my next step. And frankly, I'm just afraid of what's gonna happen next. All right, in a situation like that, it usually is a hint to me that I am just overwhelmed with everything. Okay, so if I'm feeling stuck about something, it usually means that I am just feeling overwhelmed about the decisions that I have to make or the unknown factors about whatever it is that I have to do next. Okay, in a situation like that, here's what I do. Okay, and this is absolutely, like, this has transformed my life, guys. What I do is I just sit by myself for 30 minutes. I don't have any distractions. I do not have my phone with me. I don't have my laptop with me. I just sit in silence. I don't even have anybody around me, all right? What I usually do is I kind of put one arm under the pillow, I put my head, and I just stay awake and be silent, okay? Now what happens when I do this is that I actually stop controlling the thoughts that are in my head and I let it flow, okay? I become the third person who's just watching every single thought flow by. You know, if I want to think about the fan, I'm going to think about the fan moving way too fast. If I want to think about maybe that beautiful flower I saw in the morning, I'm going to think about that. Whatever it is I want to think about, I'm just going to allow my thoughts to flow, okay? And the reason why it is so important not to have any distractions, not to have any people around you, is because when there are people around you or when you have distractions, you're most likely going to be cutting your train of thought. And when you are cutting your train of thought, what's actually happening in your mind is there's a lot of thoughts that are half there. You know, you've cut so many trains of thoughts that it's just a jumbled mess over there. So when you sit with yourself in silence for 30 minutes, okay, I don't mean meditation. I mean, you can absolutely do that, but I just keep my eyes open and I really just stare at the world around me. I don't call that meditation because for me, meditation is when I close my eyes, I put on some music, and there's a lot of focused thinking and a lot of focused breathing, and there's a lot of concentration that I personally do in my meditation. However, this is different. This, I am completely free. There is no controlling my breath. There is no controlling my thoughts, nothing. I just let it flow and I just watch whatever wants to come in my mind. Now, when you are observing your thoughts, it is important for you to understand that you are just there to see it flow. You do not have to act on any single thought that occurs in your mind. You're just there to sit and observe what you are thinking. Third person perspective, okay? So what you are essentially doing is you are emotionally detaching yourself from the thoughts that are running inside your mind, okay? Not just that, what you are essentially doing is as you're letting each train of thought extend to its complete full potential, instead of cutting it with distractions, you are actually slowly untangling it in your mind as well. Okay, now during the first day of when you're feeling stuck and you do this, you're gonna feel a little bit overwhelmed. I'm not gonna lie, you know, it's going to feel like, oh my God, there are just so many thoughts running. How is my mind even working this way? And all of those things, and you may feel a little overwhelmed. Now, personally, I do this for a couple of days, especially when I'm feeling stuck. I usually do it for about 4 or 5 days, 30 minutes just before I sleep, and make sure that I just allow my thoughts to flow. Now, slowly, what happens after you allow yourself that 30 minutes of silence, okay, the thoughts start becoming questions that are actually in your mind, okay? When I'm feeling stuck, usually it's because there are just so many questions in my mind I don't have the answers to, I don't know which to focus on, I don't know what to do next. So when I give myself that 30 minutes of silence, what I'm essentially doing is I'm letting the questions in my mind, that's an entangled mess, I'm allowing them to untangle by themselves. Okay, so if I see a question floating by in my mind, I'm not going to do anything, I'm not going to judge, I'm just going to allow it to flow because it is slowly untangling itself, okay? What's important to understand is even though you are physically not doing anything, your mind is doing all the work, okay? So you don't have to be worried that, okay, Prit, I'm not doing anything, I'm not physically doing anything, but you actually are. Your mind is doing all the work for you, you just have to let it do its work. Basically, you have to give it the space to figure out what to do next. Now, after a couple of minutes, or maybe this would probably be day 2 for me, okay? So after all the questions have finally untangled and they're out there, my mind actually does something that is super, super awesome, and your mind can do it too. I mean, that is the power of subconscious mind. Now, let's rewind a little bit to when you were a little kid, okay? The first thing that you learned as a little kid was to answer questions. What is your name? Your mind would subconsciously learn how to figure an answer for that. What is your age? Again, your mind would subconsciously try to figure out answers for that. Your mind has been trained right from the beginning to answer questions. Okay? The reason why you're feeling stuck is because your mind does not know which question to answer first, which question to focus on first. Now, when you have untangled all of those questions, what your mind essentially does is it picks the easiest question it can answer. There are so many articles on Google, there are so many books that are written about the power of the subconscious mind, and this is definitely one of them as well, okay? Your mind subconsciously will pick the easiest question to answer. It will take some time, I'm not gonna lie, even though it feels like you're physically not doing something, you are, and you don't have to worry about that, okay? So your mind picks the easiest question to answer. You have one answer. Once you get to that point, again, your mind subconsciously repeats the process and takes another question, figures out the answer to that, then goes on with the next question, and then the next, and then the next, and then the next. And before you know it, okay, by just giving yourself that time, that silence, your mind is actually slowly working through its next steps and what you should do next. It is amazing how this happens, guys. Like for me personally, recently, there is one part of my life that I'm feeling really, really stuck about. It's something that has made me very anxious and very frustrated, and I do not know what to do, okay? And for me, when I start to feel stuck, it usually means I have a lot of unanswered questions in my mind. I'm feeling very overwhelmed about everything. I need to take a break. I need to give myself some time without any distractions and allow my mind to do what it is meant to do, okay? So this is very recent actually. So I actually, I put my arm under the pillow, put my head on the pillow, and then I just sat there in silence for 30 minutes. I did this for about 4 days. And by the 5th day of me doing it, I felt so much better. I actually knew what actionable steps to take next. Of course, for some situations, it might take longer, but that 30 minutes a day is actually one of the most powerful things that I have done when I'm feeling stuck and when I want to feel unstuck. I personally don't do this every other day. I only do this when I am feeling stuck, which I probably should do every other day. But the thing is, I only do this when I'm stuck, but you can choose to do it when, even if you're feeling okay, you're feeling normal, you just want to give your mind that time to relax and that time to figure things out on its own. You can absolutely do that. I personally only do this when I'm feeling stuck, okay? But it does change everything, because I think that in this day and age, we are just so overwhelmed with so many distractions. I can't go, I don't know, half an hour without looking at my phone. And in this time, I spend not doing anything. I'm not painting my nails. I'm not focusing on any hobby, nothing. And that has made a world of difference for me. So I personally recommend this. If you're feeling stuck, don't do anything. Do absolutely nothing. And it really, really works, because when you're feeling stuck, most likely there are just so many options that you don't know which to choose, or you just have so many questions that you don't know which to answer. Either way, your mind needs time to figure things out. You need to give your mind that time. And if you have too many distractions, too many things around you, your mind is not going to have the time to fully formulate the answers to the questions that are in your mind. Now, another reason why this method really works is because when you are feeling stuck, most likely there is a huge gap between where you think you should be and where you are at right now. Okay? Now, when you give yourself that time, when you give your mind that time to untangle the thoughts, I think what happens is that you start to accept where you are at right now instead of wondering why you aren't where you are supposed to be. Okay? I think that your mind subconsciously starts to figure out how to get there from here. Okay? And for your mind to actually figure out steps from here, it needs to accept that it is here and not here. Okay? So I think that by giving time to your mind to understand what's actually happening, to process everything, that 30 minutes of silence is just a game changer. All right? So what your mind essentially does is it moves from here all the way back here. You're giving it that time, and it starts figuring out steps from where you are at. Okay? And that's the power of the mind. So when you are feeling stuck, a lot of the times, it's an instinct that you feel you have to move, you have to physically do something. However, you have to understand that when you are feeling stuck, it's your perception of feeling stuck. You perceive to be stuck. So when you perceive to be stuck, it means you can actually change your perception. And you need to give your mind enough time to change its perception and also to figure out the next steps. Usually when you're feeling stuck, there's a ton of questions in your mind. You just don't know which to pick, which to focus on, what to do next. When you give your mind that time, that space to figure it out, to allow each question to completely form and then try to figure out an answer to that. Even though you're not physically doing anything, your mind is helping you through it. Okay, so I highly recommend this method. This method has been such a game changer for me. Like each time I'm starting to feel stuck and I'm starting to feel overwhelmed, that's it. I start my 30 minutes a day process until I start to feel better. It has worked so well for me in different aspects of my life. Like the example I gave you, that was a personal one. That's in my personal life. But even for my business, I have tried this. And you know, sometimes you might not get actionable steps to move forward. But what instead happens is that you actually start to accept where you are at, and naturally your fear, your insecurities, you know, all of that crazy thoughts that are running inside your mind start to calm down, and you can make more rational decisions without being too emotionally invested in the outcome. All right, so all of this kind of ties back together with not having any distractions. And when I say sitting by yourself in silence, I mean absolutely doing nothing. Like no doodling, no painting your nails, no doing a puzzle. No, those are all different relaxation exercises. What we're doing right now is completely different. We are giving our mind the space and the time to figure whatever it needs to figure out. Okay, so that means doing nothing. And honestly, doing nothing is the hardest thing for me personally, because I'm just so hyperactive. I need to be running around all the time. It's just, I need to be doing something all the time. So for me personally, it's a little hard for me to just stay still and do nothing, but it works, guys. It really works. You have to push through the first like 10-15 minutes, because that urge to move, to do something, to fiddle with your nails, to do all of those things it's pretty powerful. So you have to overcome that. That usually takes about 10 to 15 minutes on the first day, and then you'll start getting used to it. I mean, I'm at a point, I think I've been doing this for a couple of years now, and I'm at a point where the minute I flip the switch and I say, okay, I gotta do nothing, I can do it with ease. It isn't as difficult for me as it was when I first started, but of course it's taken years and years of me doing it again and again for me to come to a point where the minute you tell me, okay, Prit, do nothing, I'm just gonna be like, yeah, okay, I'm not doing anything, kind of thing. So to get to that point, it takes a little bit of time, a little bit of patience, but I highly recommend this method. If you've tried every other method there is out there and you're unable to not feel stuck, wow, I just flicked my hair and then pulled it as well, so ow. Okay, but yes, if you have been feeling stuck and you've tried every single method out there, I highly recommend this, because I think that usually when you're feeling stuck, you just need to give your mind that time to work things out. That's all that is. And if you try to force things to happen, it's probably going to backfire, because you're not in the healthiest mindset, or you know, you don't have the healthiest perception either of what's next to do. Okay? Alright guys, I was actually editing the video and I thought I'd share this cute backstory of where this method actually came from. So when I was a kid, okay, I was extremely hyperactive and I was always getting into trouble. You have no idea, guys. I was always creating ruckus everywhere. So when I would make a mistake, or when I was creating ruckus, or when I was just hyperactive, my mom would put a chair facing the wall in the corner of the room and ask me to sit there for some time. Okay, what she would ask me to do is think about what had happened, what actions I took, what were the repercussions of the actions I had taken, what were the lessons that I was going to learn from the mistake or the action that I had taken. So that was her way of giving me that space and that time to calm myself down, to, you know, untangle the thoughts that were in my mind and to see clearly and have an objective view of my actions. And honestly, that pretty much was a very good parenting move, if you ask me, because even to this day, when I'm feeling stuck or if I feel like I'm messing up, it's a sign that I need to just take a step back and unwind and just allow my thoughts to fully form and then find answers to that. So for me personally, I think it's a very subconscious thing that has been embedded in me as a kid, you know, that if I am feeling stuck or if I feel like I'm messing up, it means I have to go into a metaphorical corner and allow my thoughts to just flow. So yeah, I guess I just wanted to share that, because this is one thing that my mom has actually taught me, and now even to this day when I am feeling stuck or if I feel like I'm gonna mess up, I go into a shell and I give myself that time and that space to untangle my thoughts and understand the repercussions of where I am. Look at the entire situation objectively. Basically, that's what she taught me, and that's what I am sharing with you today. Okay, guys, that's it. So yes, that brings me to the end of this video. If you liked this video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to hit that notification bell because that tells you every single time I do upload a video. Thank you so much for watching all the way up until here. I'll catch you in my next week's video.